Here we are at the Perch Creek Habitat, a conservation area on Churchill Line just east of Blackwell Side Road. What a beautiful place to go for a hike. Perch Creek drains much of the farmland of Lambton County and then empties into Lake Huron near Brights Grove. I'm looking forward to going for a hike here today, which is my habit. I come here almost every day. This is the main trail going east from the parking lot, parallel to Churchill Line, and heading eastbound. As you can see, parts of the trail are covered with snow and other parts not, depending on the exposure to the sun. This part of the trail is very well maintained. The grass is cut here during the summertime. However, no snow removal. Of course, not really necessary this year. There is a very nice man-made pond beside Churchill Line. The ice on it is very thin. If it were colder, there'd probably be kids out here skating and playing hockey. And this pond is surrounded by nesting boxes. I have never seen a bird enter one of these boxes, but maybe that'll happen sometime in the next few days. And here is a better view of the pond. What a great place to have a game of shinny. Now we're leaving the main trail that goes through the meadows and heading off into the woods along the deer trail. I really hope that I see some deer today. I have seen deer here occasionally, and it's a wonderful experience. So this is a narrow winding path through the trees. It's really quite nice, and I think animals like to travel along here. Quite often there are logs across the path, but that's okay for hiking. However, a bit of an obstacle when you come through here on cross-country skis. Here we pass some beautiful farmland. There was probably a crop of corn or soybeans on this last fall. Here we come to a fork in the road. Shall it be right or left? Go right and you can't go wrong. But I'm going to be rebellious and go left. Another choice. Go right and you'll fall over the cliff. Go left and you'll go along the top of the cliff. Here we can see the Perch Creek floodplain, and there's a tributary stream that flows through this gulch to join Perch Creek. And it is a very tiny stream indeed. No perceptible flow of water right now. So here we are following the trail on the top of the cliff, and on the right we have the floodplain with a lot of fallen trees in it. Now we're following the path down the cliff to the floodplain below. Being a floodplain, the land gets flooded, so here we have to cross some water, but fortunately someone put some logs across, so it makes it better to cross. Others have passed this way before, leaving markers to make it easier to follow the path. Here we are at the edge of Perch Creek. As you can see, there are quite a few logs across the water. If the logs weren't here, it would really be a pretty good place for doing some kayaking. There are berms on each side of the creek. I'm sure the creek has been widened and deepened to improve the flow of water and the drainage of the farmland. Here we are at Perch Ford, where you can ford across the river and climb up on the other bank. I don't think I can do it today. I might get wet feet, but it's nice to do when it gets colder and you get ice on the creek. Here the water is flowing on quite nicely, and it's really crystal clear. What a beautiful stream. This is the land of the three sisters. Here's Grace, the eldest. Here's Gladys, the second. And here is Marjorie, the third. Three lovely sisters, don't you think? The main trail going away from the creek seems a bit watery, so I think I'll look for another alternate route. Here we cross another small gulch, a little tributary of the Perch Creek. Here the trail goes right beside the creek, and some places there are trees that are quite low and you have to kind of work your way under them. No doubt this land was inhabited thousands of years ago. Here we see relics of an ancient civilization. Must have been this Iron Age. Oh yeah, they even had iron fences. Remarkable. How advanced they were. Here the path is on the side of the berm, a little bit slippery on a muddy day like today. It's really much better when the ground gets frozen. Another beautiful archway to pass under, where you have to kind of get down low. Now we're crossing a little tributary of Perch Creek over Stan's Bridge. I built this bridge a couple of months ago to make it a lot easier to get across the gulch, and people have added to it since, so it's become a major thoroughfare. Another place on this wide path, as we've left the woods, where you have to be careful to get your head down so you don't get decapitated. This must be the most beautiful ski hill along Churchill Line. Unfortunately, there aren't any lifts or even rope pulls, but it is a great place for cross-country skiing. It's pretty fun gliding down this hill. This is a very nice, wide, winding path through the trees. And here there's a good snow cover still. I guess this land is sheltered from the sun. In the distance we can see the old Sarnia landfill site, which has been inactive for some time now and is covered with earth. Phragmites are everywhere here. If there weren't so many of them, they probably wouldn't be so bad. But it is a very invasive species that's trying to take over the world. Now we're leaving the main trail and heading down into the woods again. So we're still walking along in the floodplain through the woods, and here is an interesting thing. I wonder how that rock grew there. Maybe it's a remnant from the Stone Age. Water is never far away. If it were colder, the ice would be nice and thick, and I would be out here. In fact, I've often gone across this with cross-country skis. Now I'm climbing out of the floodplain up onto the high ground. So it's quite a steep incline. What a lovely place for beehives, but not a bee in sight. I think they're all inside keeping comfortable, maybe watching Netflix or playing chess. Probably not a good time to be out gathering nectar. Not a lot of flowers, and it's hard to fly with a coat on. Well, I guess I'm not lost. I still see trail markers. Now we're passing out of the woods and entering meadow. Here the path takes us through some lower land again. A few days ago there was quite a bit of water standing here, but the water has drained away and it's quite passable with shoes. We're passing through Evergreen Alley, an assortment of cedar and spruce trees. These trees are in straight rows, so you can tell that they were man-planted. It's not really a natural habitat. I skied through here a number of weeks ago and encountered this log across the path, so I had to improvise and make a new path around the log. Taking skis off when you encounter a log is a real inconvenience, so it's a lot better just to find another route. Now we're passing through a lovely alley with the trees close together, and it's quite shady in here. A nice cool place on a hot summer day, protected from the sun, but not necessarily mosquitoes. Quite often you see people come out here with sophisticated cameras looking for owls. There are some owls that live in Perch Creek Habitat, and people like to come here and try to find them. Evergreen Alley, and we are back onto the wide white trail, back to the parking lot. The trail here is nice and dry. It's been built up, so it's well above the water level, and as you can see on the side of the trail, it's quite wet, but the trees don't seem to mind. People come here from all around the world, but I wonder if you've ever come here. This is a wonderful place to visit, and you can take an assortment of trails. You can follow the main trails that are well manicured, or you can head off where the deer travel and work your way through the brambles. So here we are back at the start. Consider putting Perch Creek in your bucket list of things to do. Or better yet, just come here and enjoy. Perch Creek is waiting for you. Perch Creek beckons. Come and enjoy.